So this guy talked to this guy, who took that conversation and provided it to this guy, who then tried to recreate it and provide it to us on YouTube. I think this is an example of the old telephone game.
Did you ever play the telephone game when you were a kid? You know, the one where you pass a message to somebody and it goes down a line of number of people and you compare the original message to what the last person heard. Something like, Mark just bought a new smoker, might turn into, Mark was caught smoking in the boys' room. Mad Scientist Barbecue, aka Jeremy Yoder, recently put up a video reviewing the cold smoke process used by Bar-A BBQ. Bar-A BBQ is a Texas monthly pick for the top 25 new barbecue joints in Texas. And it's in Montgomery County, about 30 minutes south of me. Jeremy's results were unimpressive, to say the least. Even at one point, he spit out a bite of brisket, saying it was the worst bite of barbecue he'd ever had, comparing the taste to that of an ashtray. Though on his last attempt, and he made multiple attempts, he did say the taste was good, though it was still too heavy smoke for his taste. Before I go any further, I just want to say this is not a condemnation or an attack, on Jeremy Yoder. What he did in this video was extremely respectful to Bar-A BBQ, and I want to be the same way to him. It's not a series of complaints. I just want to maybe add some more information to the story. Now, I followed Jeremy's channel for years. I'm a big fan. He's a wizard when it comes to barbecue, and he's never afraid to put the work in. But this is the first time I thought maybe he didn't think this whole thing through. I think
what we've got here is failure to communicate.
Now, here's where the telephone game comes into play. Al Wasserberger of the YouTube Eat More Vegans channel, he's now rebranded to Behind the Food TV, goes to various barbecue joints across the nation to learn their secrets, and then returns home to try to recreate them. It's a good channel, and I recommend you consider giving him a follow. He visited Bar-A BBQ and created a 50-minute video that covered their process for beef ribs, pork ribs, turkey breast, and their tallow-based oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. And yeah, that's as good as it sounds. I'm sure that over the course of 2 days, he took probably at least 10 hours of video. And then they edited that down to 50 minutes. The cold smoking process that Bar-A uses was kind of covered, specifically for beef ribs, but not the whole process of how they cook a brisket. As everyone knows, everything matters when it comes to cooking that perfect brisket. There's so many factors, such as the size of your brisket. How do you trim it? How do you season it? Where do you place it on the smoker? What wood do you use? What temperature do you use? Do you wrap it with what? To tallow or not to tallow? When do you pull it? And how long do you let it rest? All of those factors affect the final product. The bark, the smell, the tenderness, and the taste. So my first point is, Jeremy's source material was flawed. It didn't provide all the information needed for a valid test. A few months ago, I spent an afternoon with Cooper Abercrombie, the owner of Bar-A BBQ, and his brother Caleb, to learn their brisket process. The thing you need to know about the Abercrombies, and pretty much the whole staff there, is that they're an open book. They will share all the knowledge, all the experience, how they do things. All you have to do is ask. Now, Cooper is providing courses, but you can go in and ask for a recipe, say for their cornbread pudding, and they'll provide it to you right there on the spot. So my second point is, if Jeremy had called the restaurant and talked to Cooper, Caleb, Alec, which is their third pitmaster, I guarantee they'd have provided all the answers he might have asked for, and have spent as much time as needed on the phone with him. To refer to the process Jeremy showed in the video as Bar-A's process without talking to the source just didn't sit right with me, and the reason I'm making this video. He was using secondhand knowledge. And by the way, before you ask, I did reach out to Jeremy before making this video. Didn't get a response, but I did attempt it. So this past week, I did visit Bar-A BBQ after hours. Once it's 6:30 in the evening to help load the briskets and see the start of the cold smoke process. I return the next morning at 3:30 a.m. to meet with Alec and see how he restarts the fires. So after all that intro, what I want to do in this video and the next video is two things. One, let's cover the Bar-A cold smoke process for brisket from start to finish. And not just the cold smoke, but the whole process to cook a brisket. And then let's take a trip there and have lunch and take a look at it and see how good it is. So the second thing I'd like to do is in my next video actually implement this cold smoke process on a 100-gallon smoker. So I believe the process is designed for a 1,000-gallon smoker, and it doesn't equate 1-for-1 for a smoker a tenth of the size. That may have been somewhat of a factor in Jeremy's results as well. So on my next video, I'm going to show you my process for cold smoking a 10-pound brisket, 10, 11, 12-pound brisket on the 100-gallon Texas Smoke King behind me. So let's start talking about the preparation. Cooper told me, you know, they normally use a 10 to 13-pound brisket. Anything larger than that is going to take more time. Will cook different than the rest. They are pretty consistent across the board in everything they do, including the size of briskets that they smoke. For trimming, it's not really anything different than you haven't seen before. The thing Cooper really kept correcting me on when I was, you know, trying his process was to curve the blade when trimming the excess fat along the sides. You'll see in the video clip, he really does a good job getting those curved edges. And as he takes the fat off, he just curves right around the side and also down into the meat. So there's somewhat of a curve on the bottom side as well. But overall, his trimming process is very similar to what we do today. For seasoning, it's salt, pepper, and seasoned salt. You'll notice in this little clip, he doesn't season the sides because they may tend to burn. The excess heat coming off the back wall or the door may tend to burn that, so they keep that unseasoned. So let's talk about the start of the cold smoke process. So to start the fire, they do use Kingsford Matchlight charcoal briquettes. I know that's a tricky subject for some, and I can't say that I use that brand myself. I can say I've never experienced any type of chemical taste on any of the barbecue I've had at Bar-A, and I've had my fair share there. But one thing I'll bring up is it's a 1,000-gallon smoker. They leave the doors up when they light. A lot of that initial chemical is going to burn off quickly, and it goes right out the first door. It's a larger space. It's 1,000 gallons as well. That's why I think Jeremy may have had more of a chance to taste it on his 100-gallon pit as opposed to the 1,000-gallon pit, and he does mention that. The oily substance that he's seeing, Bar-A is not familiar. They don't see that. I haven't tried. Like I said, I don't use Matchlight, so I can't speak to that part of it. So here is Caleb Abercrombie talking about building the cold smoke fire. So my apologies for the audio and video. When I got there, I realized I had all my camera gear, but I had left my SD card back in the laptop when I was downloading clips from it. So the iPhone had to suffice.
Bottom, be just super, super light. Something to help that fire catch. Because what this base layer is going to do is it's going to essentially smolder the greener logs that we're going to put on top, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I got maybe 4 or 5, kind of good. I like the little triangle, kind of wedge pieces. Those lay pretty flat, and you can kind of stack them up like that. Because we're going to make a bundle fire, so we're really trying to cut out all the airflow we can to it. Because really the only thing we want airflow to be is on the door. So let's kind of roll them there. Like I said, we just lit this thing. You can already see they're starting to turn white. So give it about another 5 minutes of me putting briskets on and they'd be there. Kind of push them back. I would say waiting for the fire to catch and then just choosing the right logs is about the longest part of this process. Kind of keep snugging them up to each other. So there, kind of keep those. Only got that one little gap back there that's
So
kind of popping up.
what I did in mine is actually mine was oriented this way, and I just laid it right in there and just made sure it was snug in the bed.
So with this way, now granted, I've never cooked on the the backyard style pit, so I can't speak to like the smoke chamber size and everything, or not the smoke chamber, the firebox size. I just know when we go this way and we stack them on there, it's going to, your bundle fire is you're trying to make smoke, and so when you put all these logs together, you try to minimize how much actual airflow is going to be hitting that stack or that bundle of wood that's in there. You're going to get a lot more just kind of a smoldering fire, if you will, versus one that's hot and fast. Now I say that, and I mean I can open up that door in that stack, and next thing you know, this pit's rolling 350 in 10 minutes when it's all said and done. I'm sure, like if we actually would have purposely tried to finish it out, it would have been a damn nice brisket. It had a beautiful bark on it, beautiful bark, and even at 175, the point felt fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I noticed with mine. When I went to temp it at about 170, it was like butter when I was sticking the probe in there. I was like, man, I've never had one.
It kind of scares you a little bit because you're like, shit,
Yeah.
this point's going to be way too hot. When it's all said and done. All right, so I've got my 5 super dry logs on the bottom, kind of like those small wedge pieces. Then I've got, I think, 3 or 4 pretty green pieces there on top. You see that fire's already getting super smoky. I'll probably find me one more green piece, just add to that second layer. Like I say, because I do have these on a little bit earlier than usual. Alright, so that's kind of my first 2 layers that I like to use. Dry, super green on that. And then at this point, this last part, if I didn't do it, I would say probably get here in the mornings like 2:33, maybe 2:30ish. Be on the safe side to get this fire back going again. But I throw these extra just ugly pieces of wood that you'll never use for any part of the cook. I'll throw those on top going the other way, just to be like that's the last log that's going to get touched when it's all said and done and Alec gets here in the morning. So I'll find just a big ugly piece.
That's the true barbecue spirit. Because what they say, barbecue started with trying to cook meat that nobody would want to eat. I got the same thing. I got a whole stack of logs that I'll never use for like a normal fire, but
right. But now you got a whole purpose for them.
There we go.
And that's pretty much the fire right there.
Okay.
Those are super dry on the bottom. That fire caught pretty good. But it'll shut down here in about 3 or 4 minutes once I get all these doors closed. It usually helps in the process. I forgot to close the doors once you get it rolling, or started at least, so you can trap that smoke in there. But it's going to have another 7 hours to do that. And then just your dampener. So this is halfway closed right there. Kind of go a little bit below the halfway. So that's all the way shut. About right there. You can see here it's starting
so it's
to
about
trap all the
60%
smoke in there. I would probably say
60, 70?
maybe 40, 50 is what we're looking for.
Okay.
Pretty close right here.
All right.
These will probably finish off between like maybe 180, and then these down here will be cruising at about 150-ish. And it'll pretty much stay at that until about 4 in the morning. Maybe dip down to like 120, 130-ish on the pit. But it shouldn't with those big old logs I put on top. It should just be rock and roll.
So I returned at 3:30 the next morning, very sleepy, and I met Alec, who showed me how they restart the fire. I also got a good look at the briskets after that 8-hour cold smoke to see how they looked.
Let's see, we got one for chopped beef.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's pretty much out there, isn't it?
Yeah. with you over the next, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, just kind of gradually getting it back up. We're still just, not done with getting that color. We still want to get them, pretty jet black. So I'm kind of putting some lighter pieces on here for now, just to get a cold bed established again, so I can start, putting heavier pieces.
So I didn't realize that. So that's pretty normal then. You come in here and the fire's pretty much burnt out.
Yeah.
And you're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Okay. See, we're all of the understanding that there's enough left coals running to go ahead and start.
Sometimes there is. Sometimes, kind of like now. But usually the ambient temperature of the pit's just about the same.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on, how dense the wood that was used to load the night before. How, green or...
Right. So as Alex said, they normally will start the morning by taking the temperature up to 250 to 275 over the next hour, hour and a half. They'll keep it at 275 through most of the day, and then maybe toward the end we'll bump it to 300 to finish it off. When the brisket passes the stall, they don't wrap. What they do is they do like foil protectors on the end. I don't have a picture of theirs, but this is a picture of my brisket from last week, because I do the same process. Basically, you take foil, wrap it around the point, the thin portion of the flat, just to protect it to make sure it doesn't burn. That process worked well for me on the past few briskets I've done. So Cooper, like any good pitmaster, uses touch instead of temperature to determine when a brisket is ready to come off the pit. Now, when I was there, we did some temping with the ones he said was ready. They were coming in between 198 and say probably 202. I'm still temping. I'm in between. I'm still touching and temping, and I start pulling mine now about 198, 199, because when we pull them, we're going to wrap them in foil. Now, I don't have a video of Cooper doing a brisket, but here he is wrapping a beef rib. So they put down tallow and then wrap it in foil, which is going to increase that carryover heat internal more than, say, paper would. Now, hold on. Reverse that for a minute. I want you to see something here. It seems like a small thing, but it's a detail, and it's something that Caleb made a point to really correct me on when I was wrapping a brisket when I was there with him. You'll notice that he wraps the foil from the right to the left, top, bottom. Every piece of meat at Bar-A BBQ, whether it's a beef rib, a pork rib, a brisket, a turkey, they're all wrapped the same way. Right, left, top, bottom. Why? Because the man on the line, or the woman on the line, that's slicing the meat knows when they reach back there in the heater and they pull out, say, a brisket, they know easiest way to unwrap it. They know how it's going to be situated in the foil. They know how to pull it out easier. It might save a half a second, but it's a small detail that they follow. If you get the small details right, then you're bound to have a great product. Now, the wrap briskets are rested on a cart until the internal temperature reaches about 160 to 140. Then they're put in a warmer where they rest overnight at 140 until they're ready to serve the next day. That's it. That's the process. That is the same process that was used to smoke the briskets that Daniel Vaughn of Texas Monthly ate before he added Bar-A to the list of top 25 new and improved joints in Texas. Now, I fully expect Bar-A to be on the top 50 list next year when they release it. Now, it wouldn't be fair of me to talk about all this brisket without actually showing you what it looks like direct from the source. So let's go have some lunch. Are you guys hungry? After all this yakking, I am. So let's go see what it's all about. All right. Well, here we are at Bar-A. I got a plate full of food here, so I couldn't come and talk about the brisket. Everybody's been talking about the brisket, but except for the vegan video, nobody's really seen it. So I figured I'd give a shot here. I got a 3-meat plate, sausage, ribs, and brisket. At first glance, it looks awesome. I've had this before, and it's pretty damn good. Guess who's gonna join us? You wanna sit here for a second? There we are. Oh. So sir, this is an awesome plate of food.
Thank you. Thank you. We got lucky.
Lucky? Hang on one sec. There you go. Just clip that anywhere. I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So lucky enough to have Caleb Abercrombie join us out here. He and Cooper are the genesis of all this on the plate you see in front of me. The genesis, I'm trying to get fancy with words, I guess.
I couldn't spell Genesis if I tried.
So how you doing today?
Tired.
Yeah?
Tired. It's been a long week.
Yeah.
Got a big wedding catering this evening, so been kind of trying to prep for that all day, plus, you know, service and everything like that.
You guys continue to stay busy and growing?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Started out a little slower this Saturday morning, but picked up probably like 11:30 or so.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just got done with the line.
Well, what I'm trying to do is put together a quick video to kind of talk about your cold smoke process for your brisket. How many briskets do you think you prepare a day?
For a cook, like the most we could probably fit on that pit would be comfortably probably 24. If we really need to push them, we could do 28. We can squeeze one more row on there.
Yeah.
So usually we try to. Ideally, we'd like to trim all the briskets, you know, within about 2 days for the week, but we would just have so many trim tubs in that fridge. So we typically trim about at least 24 a day, if not, you know, 34, 36, somewhere around that.
And Saturday's your beef rib day.
Yep.
Which is normally my lunch on Saturdays.
Right.
But so how many of those you do on a Saturday?
I think we did 18 today.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 more left. So
yeah,
we should be.
I may grab one to take home then before I leave.
Yeah, it's 2:30.
Well, I know we talked the other night, and I got some of it on video about the cold smoke process and kind of walking through. But if there was like one point that you would reinforce to like the backyard barbecue at home, what would it be?
For the cold smoking process?
Yeah, or just how you guys prepare your brisket anyway. That you know. There's so much to it, I know, and you guys have the whole process down.
I would probably say, don't let it eat you up. You know, it's Cooper and Alec have been cooking briskets for so long. You know, and it seems like we're still messing things up, you know, so it's one of them deals. It's an imperfect product and an imperfect process. No matter how much you try to dot your T's or dot your I's and cross your T's, you're always going to kind of have something that'll mess up, whether it's on you or whether it's just how it is. It's going to happen. There we go, touchdown, Oklahoma, right over the top. That was a good score. That's what we needed. Anyways, yeah, just don't be so hard on yourself. It's a tough cook to nail. It really is. And even if you're doing it in the backyard, or especially if you're trying to sell it and make a living off of it, it's a tough product to make really, really well. You know, I would say, like, say we have, you know, on Saturdays, you know, we'll have 24 or so in the warmer. You know, we can be ecstatic with the cook, and then we get through the service that day, and we'll pretty much all sit down at supper or something that evening, and we'll talk like, how was everything? Like, I probably had like 8 briskets that were just banging. Like, what about everything else? The points are really good on these 4, but maybe the leans were a little tighter than I'd like. And not saying tight as it was no good. It was just, you know, there's always something that you're
Because you guys sit down like every morning and basically try everything, don't you?
Yeah, we try everything. You have to if you want to serve good product. And so we try our best to do that. I don't know how effective it is now, just because we've been eating the same thing for so long. So every now and then we like to try something different. You know, that's when we'll go visit all of our other buddies and stuff like that at barbecue restaurants to get a little inspiration or just cleanse the palate, try something new, you know. But yeah, we're mainly looking for just level of salt in all the food when we're really doing that.
Do you get to the point like I do, like I'll smoke a pork butt or a brisket, and I've been out there near the smoker, and I've been breathing it in, and when I go to take a bite, I don't taste the smoke, and I'm like, well, this is kind of, but everybody else is trying to say this is great, this is, you know, but I don't know.
I know, at least for me, sometimes I don't get it, sometimes I do, but I do believe just being around it 24/7 and always smelling smoke, it can be harder. You know, your senses just get used to it. So like, I know when I go anywhere, you know, to other restaurants or go visit buddies or something like that, like, oh man, you smell so good, and I smell like, you know, tallow and smokers, and I can't smell any of it. So I'm sure taste-wise, it's probably the same thing. I guess I'd agree with that, because there are people that come here and eat sometimes, and I'll ask them, you know, how everything was. Like, man, all the brisket was fantastic. I love the smoke in it. And I'm like, man, I hardly ever get a whole lot of smoke taste. So maybe that's what it is. We're just so doggone used to it, you know. It is what it is.
Well, I am so happy to see mac and cheese on your menu now, and that looks awesome.
Yeah, baked mac. That was
that's close to the way that my wife and I make it too, but looks like you make like a bechamel or something to mix in there first.
So it's actually super simple. We just you know, our cheesy taters is our most popular side, and that's just a tater base of sour cream, cream of chicken, butter, milk, you know, garlic, onion, pepper, salt, stuff like that, and butter. Mix all that together, and we mix that in with the potatoes and bake them. We ended up just taking that same potato base one day and just boiled some mac, threw it in it, mixed it all together, threw it in the oven, baked it, threw a big old mess of cheese on it, and tried it, and just fell in love with it. So
you did
that was
right
probably
there.
3 weeks ago, and people have been falling in love with it lately. So it's kind of one of them ones. You know, this is a real big mac and cheese area. You know, we have a lot of young families with a lot of young kids, so that's a big side for us for the families around here.
Yeah.
Plus, everybody loves mac and cheese.
Well, I'm 12 inside, so I will always never pass up mac and cheese.
If I wasn't trying to watch what I was eating, I'd eat it probably every day.
So
this is a lot bigger than I was.
I did the same thing. I shouldn't be so carb heavy, but I've never tried this rice before.
You ever had brisket dirty rice?
Brisket dirty rice, no. So
I would probably say the taters and the rice are our two most popular.
Yeah, I've had the taters.
My favorite now is the cucumber salad. That's my go-to. It's just a super, you know, light, refreshing side. Get you a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of acidity from the vinaigrette. It's just it's a really good kind of palate cleanser, especially you know, when it's so hot outside. It's kind of nice, doesn't weigh you down with all that starch and everything. So it's a good little switch back. Yeah, the onions in it are really good. Yeah. Well, cool, man. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. I'm gonna let you eat it. And I'm gonna. Y'all enjoy it, okay? It looks like a good plate. Thanks, man. It is. Okay, well, let's start in with this brisket. That's a pretty piece of meat there. Now, this is the point. So, look at that falling apart. Sorry, I got to use my fingers. I can't use a fork with this. Okay, that's super good. Juicy, smoky. Let me get some of the bark here. Yeah, if every one of my briskets came out like this, I'd be happy. It's not over smoky. It's not over. There's nothing acrid about it. There's no cigarette taste. It's just that light touch of post oak smoke. That bark's fantastic. Salt, pepper, and I think they use Lawry's here as well. So, yeah, it's not over smoked. So remember, this went through 8 hours of cold smoke overnight, and then it was slowly brought up to 275 over the space of probably an hour and a half, 2 hours.
and then cooked to temp, pulled, wrapped with tallow, and then rested until the next day. So that's kind of their process. There's a lot more little steps to it that we cover, but I just want to make sure you guys could see the final product here, you know, after listening to the other videos. And everything was very respectful that Jeremy said, but I don't think he's tried this before. Whoops. I'm gonna talk in my mouth full. If he'd have picked the phone up and called Cooper or Caleb, I guarantee both of them would have sat there as long on the phone as necessary, as long as Jeremy wanted, to explain every bit of the process to him. They're an open book here. All their recipes are available. When I came here to learn how to make sausage, he pointed me at a big sheet on the wall with all their recipes. Said, here, just take a picture of that. They consistently share their cornbread pudding. A lot of people want that recipe, and he'll take their phone and take it to the back and take a picture of it for them. So they're an open book. They'll tell you what they do, and a few things have changed over time. I mean, even since I came here to learn how to make brisket from Cooper, the process they use now has changed slightly. So, but that's the purpose of brisket and barbecue, as you evolve. So, well, let's try some of the rest of this. As soon as I can put this brisket down. I gotta try this mac and cheese. I've been looking forward to this for 3 weeks when I first heard they were starting to serve it. Look at that pepper in there. Oh man, that's fantastic. Let's see if that'll focus in. Take a look at that. Wow. Oh, that is so good. Oh man. I don't know what kind of cheeses they're using, but that's good. It's not real sharp cheddar. Extremely creamy. Man, I could eat a gallon of this. Wouldn't be good for me, but I could. Okay, the dirty rice. Get out of here. Now, they've had this on the menu since the beginning, but I've never tried it. I usually go for the cucumber salad and hash browns. Oh, that's good too. Ooh, that's got a little spice to it too. That is good. Okay. I think I found my new 2 favorite sides. So every plate comes with pickles, homemade pickles, homemade pickled onions, and some sliced jalapenos as well. Caleb makes the sausage here. This is a jalapeno and cheese. You get a shot of that. It's got a very good crunch to it, snap to it, and it's got a good kick to the bite. Yeah. Okay, this is the part I'm jealous of. So I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. So I consider that pork flows through my veins, whether it's pulled pork sandwiches, whether it's pork ribs. And I'm pretty proud of the ribs I make, but theirs outshine mine. How that comes right off the bone. It's not falling off the bone, that's just me biting it off. So they cook their ribs, and you'll see this on Eat More Vegan's video as well. He shows the rib process. When they pull them, they have a glaze that they put over it, and they actually share the recipe for the glaze. Now, of course, it's restaurant size, but you can measure that down for your own use. I haven't tried to make it yet, but I think I probably will sometime soon. So, but look, I'm gonna eat as much of this as I can. Might end up taking some of it home, but oh, we'll see. But we're gonna go home tonight. We're gonna cook our own brisket. We're gonna take this cold smoke recipe and process that Cooper and Caleb put together, and we're gonna scale it down for a 100-gallon smoker for the backyard smoker. So, okay, we'll see you there. Now remember, everything we've talked about in this video is about cold smoking on a 1,000-gallon pit. Not everything we talked about will equate down to a backyard 100-gallon pit like you see behind me. Pellet smokers can make it easier. My Traeger Timberline has a super smoke mode that runs from anywhere from 165 degrees to 225 degrees. So you can emulate this process by putting a brisket on the night before, set it to maybe 180 degrees with super smoke, wake up the next morning maybe at 7 and start bumping the temperature up to 275 and finish it off. Matt Pittman of Meat Church Barbecue and his YouTube channel has a great video on this process. I'll link it in the description. I've tried this process once and it worked out pretty good, actually. The smoke flavor is not as good as, say, what you would get in an offset, but the brisket was tender, juicy. It turned out really good. So next week's video will be my take on the Bar-A BBQ cold smoke process. I'm going to use the 100-gallon Texas Smoke King, but spoilers, it can be done. You don't need that big a fire, and you probably don't need 8 hours of cold smoke. I want to thank Cooper, Caleb, and Alec, and the rest of the staff at Bar-A BBQ for welcoming me into the restaurant, answering all my questions, just being so open and friendly as well. Thanks for sharing your techniques and recipes. We all greatly appreciate it. I also want to thank Jeremy Yoder of Mad Scientist Barbecue for your contributions in continuing to grow this great barbecue community that we're in. Thank you for trying new things and then letting us know how they turn out, both the good and the bad. If you haven't yet, I highly recommend you go follow him at Mad Scientist Barbecue on YouTube. There will be a link in the description. So before I go, I hate to ask, but please consider subscribing to this channel. I'm about to break 2,000 subscribers, which to me is a great milestone, and I appreciate everybody. But also, let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? Have you tried cold smoking? If you have, what'd you try it on? How'd it turn out for you? And then also, have you been to Bar-A BBQ in Montgomery, Texas? If so, what'd you think? I greatly appreciate you guys being here and watching this. Everyone that commented on my last couple videos about the Smoke King, thank you very much. Everybody that liked it, I appreciate that too. But we'll see you again next Tuesday where we do another cook on the Smoke King. And y'all have fun until I see you again. Whoops. Boo, 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 boo.